these are my success factors. I'm going to get into more detail of these in a few minutes, but I want to give you what I think the 5 biggies are. Okay. With respect to whoever said it. Don't eat the frog first thing in the morning is the dumbest advice I've ever heard. Okay? Why would I do something that is going to put me in a squirmish, uncomfortable, not looking forward to it kind of mindset? I want fun and fast, people. I'm not talking, hold on, now remember, you don't have a to-do list. So you shouldn't be like, let me scratch some things off. Right? Go out fast, do something fun. I'm going to show you exactly what I do in the morning that's fun, at least fun for me. Right? I don't care what you do or what you have to do first thing in the morning. And I don't care if you're talking about 7 a.m. when you roll out of bed or 9 o'clock when you start your workday. Just do something that is fun and fast. Get moving. Motion breeds momentum. You will feel better. Eat the frog, you're going to have a bad taste in your mouth for a while. Okay? Second thing is your environment should be ready. That's everything. Don't be going to your desk or wherever you're going in the office, to the airport, to the train, to whatever. The bag should be packed and at the doorstep where you pick it up and you go. My desk, when I ever leave my desk, if I go for lunch, everything goes back in the same spot. The pen goes in this silly thing unless it's coming with me. Right? I need to know where it is, kind of thing. I don't want to have to look for it when I get back, kind of thing. Your environment cues you. And you've heard me say this a number of times where I obsess about the starting line rather than the finish line. Because if the starting line is ready to go, I don't slow myself down looking for something that I should have that should be right in front of me and ready to roll. You got to make 25 phone calls in the morning when you get into the office because you're a salesperson. The list should be drafted with the phone numbers right next to it so that you could hit one and go, hit the next one and go kind of thing. So have whatever you need wherever you need it in whatever you're doing. So if that's sunroom, which is usually where I meditate in the morning, everything's clean. Like my wife will leave her computer and all her stuff in there or whatever the night before. I move it all out. I clean it and I put it in the spot that she should have put it in the first place, kind of thing. Just, I don't want to have to be dealing with it in the morning. Or I'm on a clock, or I'm on a mental clock anyway. All right, work the calendar, not a to-do list. So I don't have a list of things I have to do. I have a calendar that coincides with all the things I get the privilege to do and am going to complete in the slot I say I'm going to complete it. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. You're going to work the calendar, not work a list. And then there's a transition as you work your calendar. So here's what I do. Every time I transition, I'm going to show you this specifically, but I want to tell you what my practice is. Every time I have an activity, I try as much as possible, not 100%. I always try to break it down into about an hour. So like this morning, I had like a 5-hour run on my calendar that was made up of 2 things. So, and it wasn't like, 2.5 and 2.5. It was a lot of stuff that I had to work at. So I break it down by the hour. Now, I don't have a deliverable at 8 o'clock. I don't have a deliverable at 9 o'clock. I had a deliverable at 10:45 that needed to be done in my mind. And so I break it up so that I know that if that stretch says 8 a.m. to 10:45, what I'll do is I'll break at 9 or I'll break at 8:55 or 8:50 or where I get the logical break point in my long activity, and I'll stop. And if I'm going into the same activity, then all I do is I get up and I stretch. I get up, I stretch, I fold some clothes. I might, wash the asparagus for tonight, whatever it is, take the dogs out. But I'll basically get up, stretch, and just I'll look out on my lake in the backyard. Because if I'm doing like writing or something where your eyes are strained on a short distance, so I'll look out into the distance, something like that. And then what I'll do is I'll get right back into it. Okay? If I'm changing tasks, like I'm stopping, this morning I stopped something. And actually before I got into my stretch, I actually called Kara. So that's a transition, meaning I stopped what I was doing and I called her. So I stopped for a minute. I thought about what I was doing. I mentally parked it and I said, okay, that's done for now. I need to make sure that I pick it up here because I'm actually going to have to transition back to it. But normally I'm parking something and I'm done. Then I think about, okay, I'm going to call Kara. I need to make sure that I go through these 6 or 7 things with her. I had a list. I want to make sure that so basically I said to myself, I need to run through this list with her and I need to make sure she's has everything in order, knows where everything is, and can go and run so that she's not going to call me back in 10 minutes and say, hey, where's this? Right? Because I don't want to pick the phone up. I'm in the middle of what I'm doing. So I did that and I thought about what the goal was for our phone call. Had the call with her, hung up, went right back into what I was doing because it wasn't that long a call. And then I went on. But basically, you park what you're doing. I'm all done. You can reflect on it real quickly. You can jot some notes. Where did I leave off? Where do I need to pick up? Is the deliverable done? A lot of times I'm done with the deliverable, but I haven't proofread it or I haven't whatever. I haven't confirmed it. Okay, so I might say, okay, start with proofreading when I go back at whatever slot it is. And then what's my intention for the next thing I'm about to do? By the way, you can do this very quickly if you're in order and you've planned the night before. Right? So last night I knew I was going to call her in the morning. Okay, so that was already ready to go. So I just kind of recharge, I reset, and then I think forward about what it is that I want to accomplish. This is the magic to letting the stress go. Even if you got done doing something great. You got to think about it, park it, it's done. What happens? You're still thinking about it? You're worrying about it? Or actually, maybe it was so great, but you got other things and ideas that are popping in your head and you don't want to forget them. How many times does this happen? Right? So recharge and reset. And then at the end of the day, make sure you're reflecting, but you can also do those mini reflections throughout the day and make sure that whatever it is that you're doing, you registered okay, what am I about to do? Do it. And then what did I just do? What just happened? What popped up in my head? What else should I be looking at? Right? You might come up with some great ideas that need to be parked. So these are the success factors that I would definitely focus on. When you look at forgetting the frog, one thing that I like to do in the morning is my visioning and my excellence planning. I talked to you about that in session 1. The cueing of the environment, if you want more on that, if you look at your habits building session if you have access to all of you at the moment do, but not everybody always will have access to the leadership program. It's in the habit building session. We're talking about working the calendar here right now in a minute, but the recharge and reset, this has a lot to do with maintaining your energy. We'll talk a little bit more about this in the next session as well, 2 sessions from now. And then the reflection, if you want more on that, we did a whole session for the leaders in December of 2020 on that. So there's some more resources for that. And then of course we know you're going to have some issues, right? I would argue that most of your issues will be self-inflicted. Is your email on? Right now, and now, I mean, this might be extreme because I'm here with you guys, but the phone is unplugged, and when I say unplugged, it's actually it cannot possibly ring because the cord is out. Okay, my other phone is on do not disturb every minute I'm working of every day. So that's what I mean. Is your email open? Why? When I'm writing, the email ain't open. It isn't open. I'm not checking it. right? So there's certain set times throughout the day. Most of you are being interrupted because you want to go check something or you allowed something to interrupt you. Now, I get that there are people who are going to come and knock at your door and say, I need a hand. But you have the ability to set boundaries. You could set the boundaries. If your boss, let's talk about the hardest challenge, right? Your boss comes in, hey, I need something. What's wrong with, I'm right in the middle of something. Can I get to you at 2 o'clock? Is it urgent? Do you want me to stop this? This is the penalty of me stopping this. The fact that I'm already having to explain the penalty of me stopping this is already a penalty, but we're going to make it worse because you're going to make me explain this kind of thing, right? Like you need to put a sign on the door if you have to, shut the curtain, whatever you got to do. Now, if you absolutely cannot, then you cannot. But I'll teach you how to handle that in stride. But as much as possible, set the boundaries, okay? Priorities will change. All right, this happened. Last March, about a year ago, I had a whole bunch of stuff planned for April, except we got a pandemic. So I had to change everything to make it more topically appropriate for what was happening based on current events. Okay, but I didn't freak. My reaction was, my people need me right now. What is it that I can do that will be the highest value to them at the moment? So then I turn the questions on to you. What's the highest value I could give them right now? What do they need? Then, secondarily, how can I do it in stride with who I am and what I'm about and what I want to offer them so that I don't derail my strategy and my approach? Let's try new things that are where we're still in the same swimming pool. We're still in the same lane. And so we changed what it was we were doing. There will be times where your priorities are going to change because a customer, something or another, is going to blow up. And that's your big whale of a customer. So you got to stop working on the little minnows over there and you got to go move it over to the big customer. I understand that. Recharge, reset, move on. Right? I've got a little story. I think I've told you this one before, but we were doing some recruitment a while back. Had a CEO client who was difficult to get a hold of because he traveled a lot, and that's okay. So I called him on a Monday or a Tuesday, and he emailed me later that night, and he said, "Hey, I'm real busy tomorrow. I want to catch up. I'll call you when I'm on my way to the airport." I didn't know when he was going to call. But in the morning, I thought about the possibility of him calling while I was in the middle of something. And I said to myself, whenever he calls, I'm just going to pause what I'm doing, take a breath. I know that he's going to be in a foul mood, generally, because we'd had some hiccups, he'd had some hiccups, we'd had some hiccups. I want to empathize with him. I reminded myself of this 6 hours before it actually happened. And then I reminded myself again at lunchtime that it could happen in the afternoon, right? So there are things that you can do as you envision your day. This is not self-fulfilling prophecies. These are, how am I going to be my highest self when something unexpected occurs? And you know what's unexpected, even if you don't know the details of what's unexpected. I'm about to sit down, it's 9 o'clock, I'm about to write for an hour and work on this white paper. What am I going to do if somebody interrupts me? No, I'm not going to pick the phone up. No, I'm not going to look at social media. No, I'm not going to answer the door. Right? Kind of thing. This is intention to do things that you are creating reminders and boundaries for yourself so that when the event does occur, no problem. Right? So focus, focus, focus. What about unknown outcomes? So what might these be? Well, every day, I've got a bag full of calls to return. I've got a bunch of emails that have been sitting in my queue for days and weeks. Okay? Of various kinds that I would like to get to. that are not super urgent as far as high value, but I might have said something to somebody that, let me take a look at this and I'll get back to you. I might be trying to review some stories that people sent me, and I would like to get through those and read them, but I don't know how long some things are going to take me. I don't know if when I call Susie, if she's going to pick the phone up. So if I have to leave her a voicemail and I'm going to call Tommy right after her, Tommy might pick up, Susie might call me back. I don't know what's going to happen. Well, from 2 to 3 o'clock, I'm returning all my calls. I'm going to get through as many as I can. I'm going to roll the rest, kind of thing. That's what I do. But I do those in alignment with what my most important tasks are. So I'm not returning those phone calls when I should be working on the presentation that I need to give you on Monday, kind of thing. So when you have unknown outcomes, it's best to make sure that you're blocking time inside your calendar and you know, okay, I've got 10 calls to return. It's probable I won't get through all of them. I've got 10 things to check. I've got X number of staff reviews to write. I don't know how long they're going to take me, kind of thing, right? That kind of stuff. So you need to think through this. What's the most valuable use of your time? All right, here we go. Here's my day. Here's a Monday. All right, this is what a Monday, maybe a Tuesday or Wednesday looks like. So I roll out of bed, 4:30, pretty much on the dot. All right, my feet hit the floor. I go through 3 thank yous. I think about, I get to live this day and I'm actually gonna kick it in the butt. There's no, this might be a great day. No. Not while I'm breathing, okay? I take care of the dogs, we run downstairs. They're like the fastest things in the world because they wanna eat. So they eat, I let them out, all that good stuff. I meditate in that room back there in the chair closest to me, if you see it, is my favorite spot. I've tried different places. I've tried meditation pillows. I've tried everything. It's just my favorite. It's my favorite chair. It's my favorite room. That's what I do. It's usually somewhere between, it's really more like 15 to 30 minutes. It really is. I go through a series of different things. I'll take you through a little bit more of that in a couple of sessions from now. I do my excellence planning. So I literally think about everything that I want to do to build my business. And I gave you the 5 questions that I ask myself about what can I do to improve my service to my customers, my community, my marketing and sales, my systems infrastructure, and the things that I should stop doing. Now, I like to do a little of that, even if it's 5 minutes. But I do try to give it a solid shake because as you marinate on things, great ideas come. And I've determined that the ideas come fastest to me in the morning, which is why I do this in the morning, okay, as opposed to when I'm tired, all right? And if I do it in the morning, guess what? No one steals this slot. No one's stealing this slot at 5:10 in the morning. Nothing can interrupt me, right? Well, what happens if you're trying to do this over lunch? What happens if you're trying to do it at the end of the day and you're tired? What else does this do? For my psyche, I'm totally gassed up because I'm thinking about all the stuff that I want to do for you guys. But what? The hardest thing for me is coming up with the ideas. It's containing my enthusiasm and not like derailing my day to go do something else that I just thought of. So I just keep a running list of these ideas. So go back to session 1 if you want to learn what those questions are. I check social media first. I don't check email first. I check social media first. I want to see what's going on out there. I want to see who's commented on what. I want to see who's followed me, who sent me messages. Generally speaking, all of that's positive. It's not a waste of time. It's my business. I need to know what issues people are facing. Now, I do not pour through like every LinkedIn in message that I get sent. What I actually do, truth be told, and we're talking about social media now, is I open it up, I open up somebody's message. I don't read the message. I open the message up. What do you think the first thing is that I look for? A question mark. How about that? I look for a question mark. Why? Because they want free advice. Then what do? If I don't know the person, I delete it. If I know the person, and the autoresponder didn't kick in that says, if you need help, go to support at milewalk, I say email support if I get a chance to, if I have the time. If I don't see a question mark, then I look to see if they're thanking me for something, which is the next most popular thing. Thank you so much. I enjoyed your book. I enjoyed your YouTube videos. I enjoyed your cover letter. It got me a job. Awesome. I try to reply, kind of thing. That's what's happening there. I check my email and I run through it very quickly. And when I say my personal email, I mean my milewalk personal email. And I look at the support queue to see if there's anything catastrophic. If there's nothing catastrophic, I let Kara handle all that when she gets to it. Then I go into the Milewalk Academy system. So when you guys go in and in those comments areas under the videos and you ask me questions, this is what I'm talking about. So then I answer them. Then I'm in a writing block. So I write an email to you, I build a course, I write your weekly digest, I work on this stuff, kind of stuff, right? I take a break. I do just the recharge, the refreshing, the resetting. Maybe at this time, I'm taking the dogs out again. It depends. My wife usually leaves around that time each morning. I want to say goodbye to her, that kind of stuff. It's pretty much like clockwork. All right, so I do all of that stuff. I go back, I create more content. Now the team's rolling in to work. Hey, how you doing? When I say I Slack the team, it means I use Slack to say hey to the team. I see what emojis Stacy's gonna send me. I see if Kara is, working already and if she's running through the support queue or whatever. And that's usually my morning. Okay, and then I probably have more coffee. I drink a lot of coffee in the morning. Not that I need it, but I just like coffee. Who doesn't like coffee? Okay, that's 4:30 to 8:30.